How's it going, everyone? My name is Ever Arn, and we are the Geeks on Screen. Joining me tonight is my lovely co-hosts. First off, we've got Agascles Stanis. Let's go on, Agascles.
Boom!
Awesome, thanks for that, Agascles. Tommy, hopefully his camera will stay on tonight, and he's not going to be smited by Thor. We've got Tommy Oxford.
What's up, man? I'm actually glad to be back on the show. I'm a little bummed I missed last week's. I was counting on it, but I'm gonna wake up for it tonight.
Yeah, alright. Sounds good, T. Glad to have you. So, next up, we've got a man that's probably going to fall asleep before me in this podcast. We got John Connor. Just kidding, Jonathan Reyes.
Already sleeping. What's going on?
Yeah. No, I liked how when I said before I said that you knew exactly I was talking about you. Man from New York. All right.
Yeah.
Fresh off his Scott Snyder interview.
Yeah. We'll get to that because I want to ask you about that. And last but not least, we got CK Stewart. How's it going, CK?
It's going pretty great. I'm very excited to be here.
Awesome. And for everyone listening, you can't tell by the theme for everyone watching, but everyone listening, our main topic tonight is bad movies that we love and bad shows that we love, like guilty pleasures. Like what do most people consider just absolutely terrible wastes of time and stuff like that. So, but we just can't get enough. So yeah, John, you interviewed old Scott Snyder, huh?
Yeah. No, that was pretty cool.
How'd it
Um,
go? Did you embarrass yourself?
no, it actually went really well. I mean, I was really nervous because I'm a huge fan of his.
Yeah.
I have like almost all his stuff besides the Batman stuff he worked on. So it was kind of nerve-wracking, which was weird because I'm so used to interviewing a lot of people with my job outside of Geeks with Wives. So it was
Yeah.
kind of like it was surreal. I mean, I've met him before, but this was for a longer period of time, and uh, yeah,
One on
it
one
was
on one.
yeah, one-on-one, exactly, right. So man, it was cool. I mean, the focus to get him, we had to kind of say, okay, we're gonna talk about witches, your most recent thing. But I
Yeah.
kind of we were able to talk about Batman and a bunch of other stuff. So we spoke about a lot. It's a on Monday you'll see a like a write-up feature that kind of it's all the questions about witches, and then you can listen to the rest of the recording with him and me talking about Batman and just all of the stuff he's done, American Vampire, Superman, the people he's worked with, his writing process. I mean, we go into a lot of detail actually.
Okay. Well, that sounds really cool. Can't wait to hear that.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about what we watched this week, and we're gonna kind of keep it a little shorter than last week. I think we spent like 50 minutes on what we watched, but
It was a good Constantine conversation, though.
Yeah.
it was a good Constantine conversation. I'm not
I took
being
a
down
nap.
on it.
That's,
Yeah,
that's what I listened to on my commute today. It's pretty
yeah,
funny.
yeah. No, it's good. And I want to do less shows but longer conversations about each show.
Yeah.
And this week, CK watched San Andreas.
Yeah, I did. I just got back from San Andreas like 2 hours ago, as a matter of fact, and it was pretty good.
Are you frightened for the lives of everyone living in California?
Not any more than I guess I was the first time anybody decided to make a film about this staggeringly common disaster premise. Um, so I don't know that that was necessarily new to me, but it was a really good movie. I went in kind of prepared for it to be thematically appropriate for tonight, actually awesomely bad. Um, and it's just a good movie. It's not, it's not going to be like an Oscar winner, but I think everybody went in knowing like we're here to make a movie that will make a lot of money in the summer, but we're going to also try to make a pretty good movie, and they did a good job. I enjoyed it. I paid full
Okay.
price, and I didn't regret it.
Is The Rock in California to save everyone, or how was The Rock in that movie?
He was The Rock. I don't know. I love Dwayne Johnson. I think that he's awesome. I loved him
Yeah.
as The Rock, and I like him as an actor.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a lot less of a straight up like literally everybody's dying and there's a team of like super cool heroes who are saving the day than you would expect. I think part of the reason I expected that is because Colton Haynes and the Arrow team made it sound like he was leaving this to become the next like big action star. Aggressively untrue on several levels. It's kind of hilarious. So yeah, it's a lot of disaster movie and also a little bit of like heartwarming family tale to give you emotions during the complete and total utter destruction of almost all of California.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know, surprisingly heartfelt.
So I do want to get this straight. So this whole earthquake is initiated by Lex Luthor trying to fire missiles into the state of California. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. It's a combination of like all Lex Luthors in history. So Michael Rosenbaum shows up for a surprise cameo appearance on the moon from the moon base,
Michael Rosenbaum.
where they store their lasers. Very exciting.
And then at the end, The Rock couldn't do anything because Clark Kent just swooped in and
flew backwards and made the Earth
Yeah.
rotate in reverse.
right,
Surprise ending.
but not before going underneath the crust of the Earth and trying to,
It's hashtag spoiler alert. It's the biggest shocker. It's the biggest shocker of the summer, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Superman cameos.
Now, I just want to ask: is anyone at all interested in Colton Hayne being an action star? Do you think he's got the chops? Because Arrow wasn't enough to convince me.
I think Colton Haynes is a really good actor who keeps making really bad choices with his life. Whoever told him to give up Arrow to pursue more opportunities like this should be fired, and he should find new representation.
Yeah, his agent needs to.
So
CK just fired some shots.
So is that the deal? Because a lot of times I just kind of watch those shows like an average Joe, and then I don't go digging for the additional details. So is he not returning next season?
I don't know. He's not dead, so he has the possibility to return, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did. But he's like, I don't know if you've seen The Flash, he'll be like Eddie. He's not returning on any regular basis, but thankfully under far better circumstances.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I just feel like Colton Haynes is, no offense to him, I just think he's a pretty face, and then like the acting chops aren't exactly there. I like him on Arrow for what he is, but he's never really kind of like grabbed me like say Stephen Amell has, or Grant Gustin even right away.
Yeah.
And Grant Gustin's a newer face too, just like Colton Haynes, but he just grabs you.
That's exactly how I feel. I feel like he's a pretty face, and he can push tears out of his eyes, I think, for some scenes, but I'm not completely convinced that he's up to being like the world's big next like Arnold or.
So I'm gonna get us back a little bit. Not necessarily because I have to, but some of that I would also say is the Arrow scripting. Like as Arsenal, he's just. There were a few episodes that he had where he was kind of pushed to the fore, but really overall, if we talk about his development arc as a character, it's not nearly as complex as Stephen Amell's or Grant Gustin. The hugely awesome thing that Amell gets to do is he gets to be this relatively different person, but at a very nuanced level in the flashbacks versus what he is now. And you really have to kind of pay attention to pick up on those differences, and that I think gives him an awesome opportunity to kind of showcase exactly how good of an actor he is. And I don't think Colton really gets that opportunity.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. He's not a name right now that whenever I see him in the cast, I'm like, oh, sweet, it's freaking Roy Harper, I'm just like, oh, it's that guy that played Roy. All right. Did you want to mention anything about Mystery Incorporated, CK? Because I know you checked that out.
Oh, yeah. I binge-watched both seasons of Mystery Incorporated, which was the most recent incarnation of Scooby-Doo on Cartoon Network, I guess. Really good show. I'd seen some episodes, and I think that oh my god, I think this is the worst thing that I'll ever say. Among people who are Scooby-Doo aficionados, like myself, I don't know. I think a lot of folks were like, "Why are they making this show? It seems so serious. This isn't a show for shiny babies." But it's really good. I mean, it's a show that you can watch with your kids and also not hate yourself for watching because you're watching something that you should have stopped watching like 25 years ago. So yeah, it's both seasons are on Netflix. It's super quick. I mean, I only started watching it like a week ago, and now suddenly I'm done with 28 20-minute episodes. But yeah, it's worth it. It's a good. So thanks for representing Scooby-Doo well, Mystery Incorporated, among anybody who could possibly care about Scooby-Doo out there.
CK, I was going to ask you, by being a Scooby-Doo aficionado, does that mean that you know that in episode 5 it was Old Man Colton in the creepy old house, and then in episode 10 it was Old Man Colton in the creepy old house, and then in episode 12.
Yeah, I wish that I'm not quite that level of dedicated to Scooby-Doo lore. But yeah, I mean, I grew up on it, and you know, I kept up reasonably well with like most of the movies and the new TV shows and all that jazz. And for anybody who has fond memories of watching Scooby-Doo when they were younger, you'll watch Mystery Incorporated, and I don't know, just feel like somebody's making a television show for your children, but with you in mind, in the sense that like it's harkening back to things that you watched. You got the Minor 49er, got Don Knotts, which is really hilarious. Just inexplicable appearance by Don Knotts.
I want more Harlem Globetrotter appearances and Batman.
No appearances from the Harlem Globetrotters, which is
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles teaming up. You watched a lot of that.
Yes, I did.
I'll have to get all you guys to sign my Laugh Olympics petition. Laugh Olympics reboot petition.
That'd be awesome. Definitely send that link out on Twitter. Or no, you're not on Twitter, but send us the link and we'll put it on Twitter. Oh, man. All right. Thanks, CK. T, you watched a free movie online that I'm kind of wondering how it was.
Yeah, I really didn't know much about it. I didn't even look into it after I watched it, but apparently it was funded completely on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
By a company called Laser Unicorn, or Laser Unicorns, I believe.
Oh, it sounds like a promising company already.
Yeah,
it's called Kung Fury, right?
Yes. Basically, the premise of the movie is this cop gets struck by lightning, hit by a cobra, and apparently is blessed with these kung fu powers and fulfills some prophecy, and in the film he has to go fight Hitler because Hitler's a kung fu master. That's all I'm going into.
Okay.
But just to explain the movie to nobody who's watched it or heard of it, picture if Hotline Miami, Kung Pao Enter the Fist, and Knight Rider had a baby. That's the only way I can describe this movie. But for it being free and only 31 minutes and a few seconds long, definitely watch it. And I mean, I enjoyed it. Like I laughed at a few parts, and I mean, even Thor made an appearance, so that made me kind of happy.
Okay.
And I learned something from that movie. Apparently, in the Viking Age, they had raptors with laser vision.
Oh, of course. Have you not seen the fossils?
No. But yeah, that's all I watched this week. And if you're on YouTube or wherever, you can find it. So watch it.
Yeah. The official description that I found was that it's an 80s cop / kung fu parody that was crowdfunded. So
yeah,
if that sounds like something up your alley, definitely check that out. All right, thanks, T.
Yep.
John, what did you watch this week?
I keep repeating it in the chat, but it's like I've been in a very dark mood of late. So I've been watching a little Penny Dreadful, a little Hannibal. The lightest thing though I have to say is Star Wars Rebels. I've been trying to fly through that.
I was about to say, Star Wars Rebels taking a super dark side turn.
Yeah, I have to make sure that people understand that it's not dark. So. That's the only thing that's not dark. But yeah, those are the three, and all have been really, really good. It's been an enjoyable TV watching week.
Okay. You liking Penny Dreadful? Is that better than the first season now?
I love the first season. I haven't had time to kind of do my review for season 1 yet, but Season 1 is fantastic, and I think they kind of have solidified a lot. They kind of they're getting it's a stronger story, scarier. It's solid. It's not. The first season was kind of trying to get your attention and making a name for itself. Now it's kind of like finding its own way and kind of separating
Yeah,
itself.
season one, because like I've actually seen season one.
Yeah.
Pretty much season one was just a lot of backstory and kind of trying to set you up for or what they were going to do in season two.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I love I want more shows to do this. They have these one episode one offs in each season so far. And I know it's only 2 seasons, but they're like these origin stories for Eva Green's character. And I read online the other day that if they get more seasons, they're going to do it for the other characters. I really like the way they do it. They're strong, they're focused, and it gets you away from the main story for one episode. And it's really well done. It's written extremely well, and the performances are insane. I mean, you've got people like Timothy Dalton and Josh Hartnett. This is the only place you'll see those guys right now. Those guys haven't been really doing much of late.
And just Sin City too.
And then Eva Green's fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's the best.
I just feel like I don't know. I feel like she's underrated, but to me, she's not. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a fan of hers ever since Camelot.
Yes.
That's
a good show.
I hear you typing. But yeah. Oh, somebody's typing. I can hear somebody typing. But all right. Yeah. So how's Hannibal? Is that?
I love Hannibal. I absolutely love that show. It's coming back. Season 3 is coming back next Thursday. I have like a countdown going for that. I love that show so much. It's so well done, and it's a shame because every season, right when it comes to the point where they have to renew it or cancel, it's always borderline because the critics adore it, and then it doesn't get a lot of views. Like Walking Dead gets 17 million some views. Hannibal gets like 1.5.
Yeah.
But it's so good, like visually, and if you see just the pilot, you'll say, "How is this on NBC?" Just what they get away with is incredible. I have a little more hope for it now.
Mads Mikkelsen's badass.
Oh, he's incredible, and Hugh Dancy. I mean, the whole cast is just great.
Yeah, I've been a fan of his for a while.
Yeah,
and I've living in Sweden. I've seen a lot more of his Danish movies.
Yeah.
That are also just incredible. Like he's good in everything.
Yeah, he's a really good actor. But I have a little more hope for it this year for getting picked up for another season because it's in the past it's been aired in February through May. Now it's going to come up in June through the summertime on Thursday night, which is not like this is like the dead night. They put on a pretty good night in the summertime.
Okay.
So, fingers crossed.
That's cool. Thanks, John. Gascalise, you've been watching a show that I actually really enjoy.
Yeah, so it's kind of wind down time right now. With all the season finales that just wrapped up, and the pretty insane entertainment kick that I think a bunch of us have been on. So the only thing I really watched this week was Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is the show my wife and I are currently watching. We're looking for a little lighter fare after wrapping up a full season of The Blacklist. So
oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, so that's about it. I just mentioned a couple other things that I have in my queue because I thought they were interesting. So Chappie just dropped into my inbox from my pre-order on the Google Play Store. So I'm looking forward to watching that. And in my current mission, I just switched things up. I'm now going back to try and watch some of the best movies from 1989. And the interesting thing is, usually when I go backwards to try and do these like retro year in movies, I'm usually trying to catch like the things that I missed. And I got to dig a little further on this, maybe with Brad Bell when we go back and do like our History and Geek podcast this summer. But man, 1989 was insane. Like there were so many. Like you go and look at like a greatest movies of all time, and like so many of them are from 1989. So in fact, there aren't that many movies from 89 that I missed. So I'm actually spending a lot of time on this mission year just rewatching movies. So the Michael Keaton Batman came out in '89, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Back to the Future Part Two, Say Anything, and Little Monsters, all came out in '89. And there's tons of other movies that came out that that I don't have on this mission list. So that's what I've been into.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, please. For me, I'm not going to talk about this movie too much because you could find John's reviews for him on our website, which are probably better than anything I can articulate about it. But I watched Mad Max 1. Very, very different from anything I had imagined in my head. Like I don't know. It was a good movie, but it just wasn't what I had pictured. So I'm not sure if that tells you anything, but I don't know. There were some parts of it that were a little questionable, like spoilers for a movie that old, but his wife basically sticks ice cream in the face of the main bad guy, and he just goes on a vendetta against her and decides that he wants to just straight up murder her for doing that. And I was just like, seriously? These like Australian like thugs not have anything better to do but to be like, oh man, that girl stuck my ice cream in my face. Let's go chase her down, no matter if she's on vacation on the other half of Australia or something. Like I don't know. I thought it was a little far-fetched. It was hard to believe, but, it happened. So I'm actually more excited to see Mad Max 2 because I feel like not having heard what that film is about, I'm just waiting, like, for his family to die so he can become the mad part of the Max, which is the most interesting part, in my opinion. I don't know.
I've never actually seen Mad Max either, so I kind of want to actually watch it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to watch a young Mel Gibson eat a peanut butter and honey sandwich while wearing tight leather pants, go for it.
That's pretty much the only reason you go back to watch that movie. It's like a historical pain that you have to put yourself through. There's like no...
Yeah.
There's going to be...
Okay.
I feel like there's very little entertainment value in going back to watch it. It's like you have to watch it so that you have the fully fleshed out backstory for whatever it is.
Yeah, it's the origin.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So Everett, I want to ask you and John too, because we talked about this a couple weeks ago, with Fury Road. And I think John and I were on different sides of, do we want to see any more Mad Max movies? Everett, with what you just mentioned now, I feel like I don't want to see any more Mad Max movies. I would be fine if like Fury Road was like the last chapter and he just rode off into the sunset. But what would you guys think about Tom Hardy doing prequels?
I don't know. I mean, I like him as Mad Max.
I feel it's unneeded. Because,
Yeah.
a prequel to that movie will basically just be Max, like, in cop school, and it would be,
Right.
like, kind
So
of...
be Lethal Weapon 5?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was thinking more like Police Academy, but in Australia. So, yeah, I feel like prequels are unneeded. Like, maybe if they wanted to recount some of the days, like, directly after, and they could show, like his wife getting ran over by the motorcyclists or whatever, and then kind of recount some of the stuff maybe in between 1 and 2, or between 2 and 3, or, maybe just, I don't know. I don't know how much they reference the earlier movies in the new one, if they do at all, but connecting them to the universe in some way would be all I'd really care for.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. You don't need any prequels. I would say more maybe sequels to Fury Road or spin-offs with like Furiosa and Morton Joe or even Nux, which Agassicles and I agreed was probably the star of the show was Nux, Nicholas
Yeah.
Nux.
All I've heard is Nux. Like all the cosplayers have already they've already done Nux. So I'm interested to see, because the character looks very strange from an outside person's
Oh my
eyes.
God. Yeah, I think you described the first movie perfectly. Mad Max is just like nothing you've ever seen before. It's just so different.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. The build up to revealing Mel Gibson's character, where they just show him like they're building him up. They're showing like the side of his glasses and the side of his face and his hands on the steering wheel, and then after like the guy blows up or whatever, he gets out of his car and he's just like, "Huh?" And it's like, "Bah!" And then it's like cuts. It's just like a 2 second reveal. Like I was like, wow, that wasn't badass at all. But I guess technically he doesn't become badass till much later.
Yeah.
And then just before we move on, I watched Kristen Wiig's newest film. It's called Welcome to Me, and it's interesting. I know a lot of the people that actually have this condition were pretty negative for the film, but she had what was it called? It's not bipolar. It's BPD. Borderline personality disorder. That's what it was. So her character in the film has borderline personality disorder, and they don't really go into why. I'm thinking They kind of mention that she had it when she was a kid, so I'm guessing it's a kind of a thing that just happened to her character. But someone's typing again. I can hear it.
That actually is a Gasicles. I can see the Skype window light up every time he types.
Yeah, I have no idea how that's coming through. I've got every mic muted.
Even your laptop mic?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's really strange. Yeah, I'm not sure why. But yeah, Welcome to Me. It was okay. It was basically about a woman with this personality disorder or borderline personality disorder who wins $86 million in the state lottery, and she's like super into Oprah, her talk show, and so she decides with her money she wants to buy her own talk show from Cyclops, from James Marsden, who is kind of hard up for cash in his TV company, and so he basically just lets her do whatever she wants, and it's crazy. It's like kind of quintessential Kristen Wiig. If you're a big fan of hers, you'll enjoy this movie much more than someone who may not be. Before you check it out, because she's just so damn funny without even trying, and most of the movie is kind of, it's not really trying to be funny, but it just Kristen Wiig herself makes it really great, and it was an okay film. I'd recommend seeing it once. So yeah, let's move into our main topic, because I know we're gonna want to talk about.
Do we have like 2 minutes to talk Tomorrowland?
Yeah. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
CK, did you see that also?
I did. I saw that last weekend.
Me too.
Cool. Did you guys cover it on the Did you guys cover it on the last screens cast?
No, go for it. Tell us about it.
So yeah, and I'll pitch it around to CK and John too. So I liked the movie. I will admit and agree with some of the other critics that it's not a great movie. Certainly, certain elements of it are predictable, but kind of like in the way that I feel about the competition between Flash and Arrow, where I like Arrow more, but I admit that Flash is a very positive show, and it's not as dark. I come away from Flash feeling better. Same way, and my back to back was I saw Mad Max Fury Road and then went to see Tomorrowland. So I definitely came out of the theater a lot more uplifted having seen Tomorrowland. I liked the on-screen chemistry between Clooney and the two actresses in the film, and just a positive message. So like I said, felt really good about it. What CK and John, what did you guys think?
It was a film that I went to see that was not bad. I don't know, I was just kind of surprised. Like, as I was watching it, I liked it, but then, like, right at the tail end, and after I left, the more I thought about it, the movie that I'd just seen, the less interested I got. Like, retroactively, I was like, I don't know that I actually liked it as much as I thought I did at the time. Like you said, like, it wasn't a bad movie. It was pretty good. And I guess I'm, like, glad that I went to see it. But I wish that it had been more about Casey, which is the young girl's name, which seems weird to say because she does a lot of things in the movie. She's like a central part of the film. But it was also like way more about George Clooney being sad that he wasn't friends with like
not
this,
another George Clooney being sad movie.
this tiny robot child. Spoilers. Sorry, hashtag spoiler alert. So I don't know. Like there are a lot of things that I wish that they had done differently, but it was fun to watch. It was funny seeing Hugh Laurie. Oh my gosh, I almost called him Hugo Weaving, which is dumb, and I don't know why I almost said that. But it was, I don't know, like it was fun watching Hugo Weaving in the movie, and I thought everybody that was in it did a really great job. I just wish that there were some things that they had done differently with the script.
Well, you guys didn't even mention like the main star, the best actor in the whole film, which is Tim McGraw.
Oh yeah, he was stellar.
Oh Lord.
I mean, it was good. I felt like it had a chance to be great though. The first part of it and the middle were really good. The journey to Tomorrowland, and then when you finally get there, you're like, oh, this is it. And then it just stopped. It just felt like a weight pulled it down, and that was it. It just didn't work anymore. I like the performances. I like the young girl Athena, who was played by the young girl Raffi Cassidy. She was really good. I liked her. I've never really. Yeah, go ahead.
That's not me typing now.
It might be me actually.
But
damn it, we're doing a podcast. God damn it. That's my Tommy impression.
And just the last point I'll make about Tomorrowland is that Britt Robertson, who's Casey the blonde in the movie, I have like a sour taste in my mouth with her because she's in that show Under the Dome, and she's atrocious in that show, to say the least.
Man.
So when I saw this, I said, "Oh Jesus,
damn,
guide me through this."
Shots fired, man. CK's firing shots. John's firing shots. Man, we're going all West Coast gangster on these people.
Yeah, we're falling behind, T. It's usually
it was good. That's it.
So am I right to guess, just based on because I've seen the trailer for that, and it seems like she gets given like a coin, and every time she holds the coin or whatever, she gets transported into the kind of an alternate future of her timeline, or is it just straight up the future?
Yeah, it's the future, I would say. It's almost like an advertisement for the future.
It's tough to answer those without spoiling it.
Right.
There's a twist to that. So.
Okay, but because I kind of got that George Clooney's like a fugitive from the future, like in the past or something. Like the trailer. This is all coming from the trailer, so I'm not spoiling, but the others, whatever.
It's
but
kind of like if you think of DC, I guess now post-convergence, whenever that finishes, or a long time ago, pre-convergence. If you think of there being several Earths that all exist in the same place, and yet we only ever experience one Earth at a time, that is this movie. So all Earths are at the same time, but are not the same Earth.
Right, yeah, it's parallel universes. And that kind of intrigued me. Yeah, that always intrigued me because I'm a fan of the parallel universe theory. But yeah, okay. So the movie was bad or was it good?
Good.
I wish I had a more enthusiastic response to that. It wasn't bad. You could take your family to go see it.
I was actually just looking for the segue because we're about to talk about bad movies.
All right.
It wasn't that kind of bad.
No. Right. Okay. And we've kind of written here on our sheet that we've got some bad movies that we love. Does anyone want to name one of their movies here and kind of defend it and say why you love it?
I've got to start it.
Okay.
Super Mario Brothers.
Oh God. That's a bad movie.
I know, but I love it, and I really don't know why. I mean,
because Yoshi's like a straight up raptor, right?
I don't really know what it was about that. I can't tell you what it is about that movie that I just love. Like, I know it's god awful, and when I'm watching it, like I'm sitting there, why am I watching this thing? Like, what's the point? It's horrible. But I mean, It's just one of those movies that it's just so bad that it's good. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah. I remember when I was very, very young. I don't remember the movie, but I remember I had the book based on the movie. Like,
What?
it was like a straight up picture, like, kids' picture book that probably had like 20 pages.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, because all I remember is the Goomba that was just like a like giant guy with a tiny baby head, like mushroom
And
head.
yeah, it was just straight up like handicapped, just like that's all he's
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, Goombas are supposed to be kind of mindless, anyways. But yeah,
But yeah, like that's definitely one of my movies that's just so bad that it's good, but
oh
I
man.
love it. I love it.
Okay. Well, anyone else? Is there? Let's just go through some bad movies. Blade Trinity is on my list. Gascles, what? You saw Blade Trinity?
I did. I'm a fan of I'm a fan of all the Blade movies.
Yeah.
I really like that trilogy. I don't understand. I think some of the fan hate for the third one was because you didn't have Chris Christopherson in it, and I
Yeah.
think people were hating on Jessica Biel as an action star, and I think Ryan Reynolds was kind of was he be was that after Wolverine Origins? I can't remember.
No.
That
Yeah,
was
that was a
before.
No.
while before it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was quite a ways before it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
probably why he got picked up as Deadpool, was that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he was a badass. I mean, I think Ryan Reynolds made that movie. Like Blade was badass as always.
Right.
Wesley Snipes is the best Blade.
I feel like Ryan Reynolds and specifically his interaction with Parker Posey
Yeah.
was one of the key parts of that movie. Maybe my memory's bad about the trilogy. Maybe it was I thought two was disliked. Maybe two was liked because of the Wolf Pack or whatever.
I think 2 is the favorite out of
Okay,
the
all right, all right.
trilogy
So
from what I've read.
okay, so maybe that's why people were hating on three was because it
Yeah.
seemed like a downslide after having the Wolf Pack and Ron Perlman and all those guys.
I personally find 2 to be the worst out of the 3, just in my personal opinion, but, I don't know. I still use Ryan Reynolds' line from Blade Trinity where the the little Pomeranian comes in and it's got like the jaw, and then one of like the Dober, he when it does that he's like, oh fuck me, and then the Dobermans come in and they have the jaw too, and he goes, fuck my ass sideways. And I feel like I've used that line ever since that. And his character, I think his character in that film is fantastic, and I'll stand by that. But I think Blade Trinity is probably my favorite out of the trilogy, and so I just had to say that because I know we didn't actually get the Blade when we did our Marvel cast, so, and I was a little upset because I wanted to defend it there, but yeah, Jessica Biel, she was okay. She was kind of cool with her like light. I don't know. It was almost like one of those like Klingon weapons that kind of goes outwards, but it's got a beam of light in the middle. And that was kind of cool. I don't know. Whistler's daughter. But I don't know. Anyone else? Jupiter Ascending, CK. Is that movie bad? I haven't seen that movie yet.
That movie is like amazingly bad. That's my favorite movie that I've seen all year. I wish that I'd gone and seen it more times in theaters, just because it totally deserved that much more of my money. Um, I don't know. I mean, it's just amazing. It's just it's just the best. Mila Kunis as
Tatum.
this, yeah, and Channing Tatum as like a space werewolf. I don't know. Mila Kunis finding out that she's a space princess from bees. Sean Bean. What, everything is happening all at the same time. I don't understand it. It's amazing. I hope that it made a ton of money and they make like 5 more sequels, because I just want to see so much more of everything happening all at the same time. Channing Tatum, like space anti-gravity roller skates werewolf. Like, what is not to love about everything about the premise of that film, or everybody in it, or the execution?
Okay.
If you don't like Jupiter Ascending, like, I don't get it. If you didn't have a good time watching it, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Not that I condone this by any means at all, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Just from what you described, that sounds like the perfect movie to watch when you were stoned out of your mind.
Yes. I mean, that's right. The less sober you are, the more enjoyable it gets. I'm assuming. Like, I haven't had the opportunity to do that yet, but I
See,
probably have a pretty good
Agastocles is just
time.
popping a can open right now. Like he's ready.
He's like, kind of like this podcast.
Exactly. Aspirational goals, like drunk ass live tweeting of Jupiter ascending, probably
Oh
would be the
man.
best thing that I could accomplish with my whole life. The only good thing I would ever contribute to society.
Coming soon, Drunk Geeks on Screen. Watched Jupiter Ascending.
Watch Jupiter ascending.
If I did that the whole time, I'd just be going, Jupiter!
So now, CK, would you put the movie, would you put this movie kind of in the same category as like Labyrinth or Never Ending Story, just that kind of weird?
Yeah, I don't know that it intentionally comes close. I don't know that that's like intentionally what it was shooting for. Like it wants to be a space opera, and it is. But it's like it's a really weird space opera. It's not like Star Wars kind of hard sci-fi space opera. It's like way more, I don't know, like intentionally emotional and very dramatic. It's like if Star Wars and Phantom of the Opera had a baby, then that baby would be Jupiter ascending.
And
Um, so it's kind of in that vein, accidentally in the scope of this like weird sweeping like fantasy land, but that fantasy land is also supposed to be like a hard sci-fi film.
I have absolutely no idea how you guys are possibly hearing me right now.
Wow.
It's like every mic is muted.
Oh god, we've tapped into the NSA's mics in Gasicles' house. Oh man.
No, I was gonna say that's a perfect segue into mine. That I love Phantom Menace, the first Star Wars. I'm gonna probably divide a lot of people on this one, but I don't know. It's just something about it. I don't like 2 and 3. They could go fly kite. So it's just like watch 1 and skip to the original trilogy in my mind. But
Thinking the use of like the Jar Jar Binks.
I don't know. It's just great, and Liam Neeson is in there. Like, come on, long hair Liam Neeson. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie's great. And then like the fight with Darth Maul. I mean, it's
Oh
just
man.
good.
I can't say that I think the whole movie was great. I do like it. I think that Darth Maul scene at the end is still one of like the greatest moments in all the Star Wars
It's
movies.
fantastic.
Like the minute that those hangar doors open and he's just standing there, it's just game on. Like that last fight scene is probably, I think it's still the best out of the it's between Yoda and Dooku, and
Yeah.
like that fight was really good, but it was short. I feel like the
Yeah.
Darth Maul fight being longer kind of beats that one out just slightly. But the fighting in the prequel trilogy was definitely better than the fighting in the original. But I say that, but because when you look at like A New Hope, the fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, it's just like, bsh, 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 like it's really slow. But whenever you go back and you watch Luke versus Vader, it's actually quite choreographed and quite fast.
Yeah.
And I think the Obi-Wan Vader fight kind of makes us forget that the Luke fights were awesome as well. So yeah, but Natalie Portman in the Phantom Menace was pretty damn good too.
Yeah. And then it just went downhill. I don't know what happened. Hayden Christensen's a terrible actor. I'm just gonna keep announcing terrible actors today.
You mean I think he was Wizards? He's a Wizards, Annie. Oh, man. That pod racing scene was pretty cool though.
Yeah. I mean, pod racing. His mother telling him don't turn around. I mean, it got emotional. It's and then like when they see Darth Maul the first time, and like Liam Neeson goes all taken on everybody. He's like, Anakin, get on. It's like, oh man, I like that one a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've always been a fan of Darth Maul. I think he's one of the coolest Sith
He's
Lords,
so
and
cool.
I'm glad they brought him back in Clone Wars. And
Yeah.
they need to bring him back in the next trilogy, Cyborg.
I'm glad he
Darth
had a
Maul.
son that went on to be a horror movie actor.
Yeah. Bringing us back into reality with Tommy. But all right, so John,
Yeah.
I have to.
Oh no.
Or no, okay, no. I misread your notes. You wrote the Wolverine here, and I thought for some reason you wrote Wolverine Origins, and I'm like, psh, That does not need to be on this list.
No, it does
That's
not.
a bad movie that everyone
is
hates.
in its own category.
Right, yeah.
That
No, the
movie's just bad.
Wolverine was okay.
Yeah, I could tolerate that one, the Wolverine. Like I said, it's not a great movie, but I enjoyed it. I mean, let's see what else.
What do you think of Wolverine, I guess, Cleese or CK or T if you've seen it?
Never seen it.
Yeah, I know you
Never
don't
seen
watch many Marvel movies. You got Robot Silver Samurai.
That was the second one.
Yeah. And now we can't really hear you, guys, Cleese. You need your NSA mic back on.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second one.
Okay. you're very low volume. Oh, man.
He's got
This
all
pod-
Ant-Man now.
Hold on, so you guys able to hear me now?
Yeah, but you're very low.
Really?
All right.
This podcast is just going. It's almost like Steven's hosting.
Oh, I know.
Podcasting professionals, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Now it really does sound like you have an NSA mic like behind you somewhere, like sitting on the shelf, because it's pretty low. But yeah, we'll move on while you fix that. Last Samurai I wrote on here. I know that like it's got a following, but I know a lot of people have kind of panned that movie and said that it was really dumb that like Tom Cruise was the last samurai and that he's kind of playing a samurai in a, you know, like why isn't he Japanese or whatever. But I think having kind of been a fanboy of feudal Japan and just...
Oh, I love that movie. I love it.
Oh, yeah. And like, I totally get, like, you know, there was, what's he called? James Carvell. Clavell. James Clavell wrote Shogun, and you know that movie really harkens to that book, where you know you've got Blackthorne, who was a gaijin from you know the U.S., and he you know I don't know. I just think that movie is absolutely fantastic. It tugs at my heartstrings. I'm the biggest Tom Cruise fanboy in the world.
I never actually watched it until late last year. Never watched it.
Were you surprised?
Yeah, I was avoiding it just because I'm not gonna lie. I thought, you know, Tom Cruise being in it, it was just gonna be a piece of shit.
How dare you, sir?
But you know, I actually sat down and I watched it one day, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. Awesome as hell.
Can we talk a little Fallen Skies? Because I noticed that on yours.
Yeah. So Fallen Skies, I'm surprised it's gotten as many seasons as it has, because I know I've read like a lot of negative press about that show. I think it's kind of riding the Walking Dead fame. Like, you know, it's kind of, you know, instead of zombies, it's aliens. And the acting is subpar at times, but I think like I love it. I love the story. You know, the production quality may not be there. I'm not sure. Like they kind of got lost at, I think, the last season, but I think like they were talking about this season, which is going to be the final season of the show, and how it's going to wrap up with like a bang. Like it's going to be a big finale, and I'm super stoked. Like I freaking love that show.
Yeah, I hope it does, because I love the first two seasons, and then it kind of lost its way. 3 and 4, and then I like it. I mean, like you said, the acting's not the greatest at times, but I mean, just the themes it has, it's like really dark. It's crazy. Yeah. Like some of the stuff they talk about, it's kind of like it's insane. Like they were being. I don't want to spoil anything about it. It's good. It's worth watching for sure. I like the Colonel Weaver.
Colonel Weaver is like
That's
the
the
best
man.
part. Yeah, he's like the best part. And people give Noah Weil a bunch of shit for
he's great
for Tom Mason, but I think he's fantastic.
He's really good. Yeah, it's a good show. I just wanted to make sure that show got its due.
And Moon Bloodgood plays Anne.
She irritates me now.
Yeah, she kind of irritates me. And then there's I'm trying to find her on this list. There's a character. She's like the mole or whatever that was in there.
Oh yeah, that there's a name for her I'm not going to use.
It's got her character has the weirdest freaking name, Lourdes.
That's it. Yeah, I haven't seen
It's
this
like
show in a
I
while.
am Lourdes. Yeah, yeah, I am Lourdes. But yeah, she's probably my least favorite part.
Yeah, I don't like it.
And she was fantastic in The Last Airbender, by
Yeah.
M. Night
Wow, I can't believe
Shyamalan.
this
I
show.
dig
Yeah,
that.
you're right. I can't believe this show's been on for so long.
She's Asami's voice in Legend of Korra, but maybe she should stick to voice acting. You like her, CK? I know you watch Korra, right? Do you watch Korra, or is that just Tyler?
No, it's just Tyler right now.
Okay.
I haven't seen Korra or Avatar.
Avatar. Okay.
Eventually, I'll watch both of them, but I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's go back to our list here because we've got some good stuff on here. CK, you wrote 21 Jump Street and 22. Were those movies bad, or do people consider them bad?
I don't know. I guess that depends on your threshold for like a bad movie. Um, I think that they are great movies in the sense that all they want to do is be ridiculous movies that are really funny, and they are very good at those things. Um, if you consider a bad movie to be a film which doesn't really have any like substantial qualitative value, then they are probably bad movies because they are not really contributing anything meaningful to anything ever in the history of public discourse. But they're
Okay.
hilarious, and I love them a lot.
Well, you got the Tatum Todd in there again, So.
That's true.
And the last thing, I wrote Hell's Kitchen on here, but it's Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay. I don't need to explain why I love watching Gordon Ramsay. He's the best. But my last thing that I've mentioned on here just briefly before when I was talking about M. Night Shyamalan, I freaking love Lady in the Water. That's like, I consider that to be his third best film, and people are gonna be like, I'm not listening to this podcast anymore, he knows nothing about films. But I found Lady in the Water to be really exciting. I love the story that he was trying to portray, and like the twists at the end, like, oh my god, we thought this person was this the whole time, but really it's I found that really fun and exciting, and I think that movie deserves a little more credit, but that's just me. So yeah, so let's move on to the news because we're running low on time here. Is there anything on here that you guys want to mention first? CK?
I kind of want to
T?
touch on a little bit of news. I actually didn't know about it until today. Apparently, Lionsgate is going to make the Power Rangers reboot, I guess, a significant series of movies. And
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how they can do that. Like, I mean, it's possible, but it just doesn't need to be done in my point, because, and that's coming from a diehard Power Rangers fan. There's no need to have more than maybe two movies at the most.
I guess just imagine the TV show, like the old TV show where they're all feature length, like each episode. Like it's probably going to be a Monster of the Week, like movie sequence.
See, like that to me would not make sense. Like if they wanted to do something, what they could do is almost do like origin stories for
Right.
maybe maybe like 2 or 3 of the Rangers per movie.
They'd have to rely a lot on their characters to do that
Like,
long of a.
I have a feeling that, or since they're gonna make it a significant series, like I don't know if they're basing it more off of the original like Power Rangers movie, or if they're gonna base it off of the kind of take elements from the show itself. But if they take elements from the show, they could easily do like a movie on the whole Green Ranger storyline, because that was that itself was, I think, 2 or 3 episodes long.
But do we want a Green Ranger storyline that doesn't include Jason David Frank?
He's signed on for the movie in some aspect, though.
Oh, of course he's gonna cameo, but like I feel like if someone portrayed the Green Ranger that wasn't Jason David Frank, I'd be like, come on. So
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm excited that I get more than one Power Ranger movie and I get to nerd out multiple times in the theater, but I'm just not sure what they're gonna do.
I feel like maybe if they went the vein of that short film, I could see it.
Possibly, yeah.
All right.
That's all I wanted to touch on. So if you guys want to touch anything else, go for it.
Anyone?
I will go because I'm really excited about this one. Lumberjanes from Boom Studios got optioned for a live action film by, I think it was Fox. So yeah, they picked up the rights to that and they've tapped somebody to write a screenplay. And I'm super new to Lumberjanes. Tyler always makes fun of me because he knew that I would like it. But yeah, it's really good. It's super fun. I think that it'll be a great kind of like all action or like all ages sort of actiony summer flick. So I hope that the screenplay comes out well and they go through with the actual movie. But yeah, fun news there. It's a super fun comic series. It'll make a great film.
All
Thanks,
right.
Fox.
Yeah. Anyone else want to mention something on here before I blow through this list of news?
Yeah, I just want to mention two quickly. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the remake, and
Yeah.
the Arrow stuff about Harley Quinn. So just on the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I forgot about that movie. That would be like one of those bad movies that I liked a lot.
Sean Connery.
But it definitely could be better. Definitely could be better.
It was quite universally panned by
Yeah.
critics.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
know. I follow Patton Oswalt on Twitter, and he loves to give that movie shit. Like, but he called Penny Dreadful, and this is what kind of drew me to Penny Dreadful. He said Penny Dreadful's the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen we deserved.
yeah, I agree with that. I really do.
And so I know he and myself are probably hoping that this remake is going to be more in like the Penny Dreadful like area.
Yeah, that would be awesome if it is. And then Arrow, yeah, I mean, that's a problem. That'd be like maybe a whole nother topic or something that could be written on it about how there are these characters. I mean, there was the news about people asking James Gunn about Kang being used in the next Guardians, and he said they can't because of I think Fox owns the rights to that character, and people
Kang?
wanted Kang. Yeah, I think
How
that's the
does
character's name.
Fox own Kang?
It might not be. I don't know if it's Fox or Sony. One of those companies has the right.
He's on the Fantastic Four roster.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense if he's Fantastic Four. I guess that makes sense because he's on.
But it's kind of a shame. I mean, it was cool that Arrow did the little cameo with the back of her head in that one season. That's a minor spoiler, but
Yeah, it kind of makes me upset because I feel like Harley Quinn would add so much to Arrow. And
oh yeah,
we talked about it just briefly. I think Steven mentioned it, or someone mentioned it last week, where like the minute they started Suicide Squad, they had to kill off Deadshot.
Yeah.
They had to just forget everything they wanted to do with Harley Quinn. Like, they can't use any of the Suicide Squad in that anymore, which they were kind of building up. They gave Deadshot kind of a nice farewell.
Yeah.
Kind of redeemed his character, and Diggle didn't necessarily forgive him, but, he was just like, all right, whatever.
I find that story really interesting, though, because now we're also getting a Flash movie that's Barry Allen. So literally everything about the Flash television show is going to get rehashed in a feature film. So why wouldn't they let them use the Suicide Squad if they're just going to reboot a whole TV show as a film?
Right.
I think they're trying to avoid the Flash thing because now everyone's going to be comparing the Flash movie to Grant Gustin's Flash, and I think they don't want to give the audience something to compare Suicide Squad to when there hasn't ever been one.
Yeah, but I think they've made those decisions I don't know. I think they'd made those decisions before they decided to do about keeping Suicide Squad off Arrow. Anyways, I don't mean to drag that out a super long time. Personally, I think that they wanted to keep them off because they didn't want them to do a bad job with Suicide Squad on TV before they did a feature film. But that's just me and my Arrow opinions.
Yeah. All right. Gasquez, is there something you wanted to say on this list?
So I wanted to talk. Well, first of all, on League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I am also probably the second person on the planet who's actually a fan of that movie, along with John. And I think a lot of the hate comes from because one of the other things I was doing earlier in the week is I started reading through the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen omnibus.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a copy of that, and it's all 12 issues of the two 6-issue miniseries runs. Um, and I think a lot of the hate came from, as it typically is fans who read the book, um, who read the comic, and the movie is starkly different than the comic. The
Yeah.
comic was very dark, and it aligns much more so with Penny Dreadful. Again, when things like that happen, though, a lot of times I take the view of, well, because it's different than the comic book, does that mean it's inherently bad? Not necessarily. Again, but I can get how some people didn't like that movie. I will say, getting to kind of live through the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen a second time, now having read the book, I'm also interested in seeing something that lines up with a darker version, and it looks like that's the direction Fox is taking. So,
Yeah.
uh,
I hope so.
so I'm looking forward to that. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was Chris Pine being cast as or being discussed to be cast as Steve Trevor in Wonder Woman. Um, in the Wonder Woman movie. I'm looking forward to that. That sounds like a good thing potentially. I'm really curious to see how they script this Steve Trevor. Back in back in the television show from the 1970s, he was virtually a male damsel in distress, constantly
Sweet.
being rescued by Linda Carter. Um,
Chris Pine could pull it off though.
Oh yeah.
so
Oh.
I think it would be awesome if they take the New 52 route where Trevor is. I don't know if he's part of the DEO but he's part of some government agency that is kind of a liaison with Wonder Woman, but has a bunch of Spec Ops guys working with him, and eventually goes on to become kind of a 21st century version of Henry Gyrich from Marvel, who Gyrich was the government liaison to the Avengers.
Yeah.
In the 80s and 80s, I guess early 90s, and in the New 52, Trevor is like the government liaison, becomes a government liaison, and actually starts their own Justice League of America. So it would be very interesting if they cast him kind of as that version of Steve Trevor.
Yeah, I know nothing about that character, but I would guess Chris Pine would probably sign up for the government liaison job more than the damsel in distress job. So, yeah, that sounds really cool. So I'm just gonna go through these news bits. If you guys want to say like a word or two about them, feel free. Bob Saget and Lori Loughlin are signed on for Fuller House. A lot of people are stoked that Bob Saget's officially signed on, and the Olsen twins are officially not returning. So Michelle probably got hit
There
by a
wasn't enough.
bus.
There wasn't enough coke for them to sign on to the show.
Yeah, we'll pay you in mounds of cocaine and heroin. I still think Elizabeth Olsen. I would be totally fine with her playing Michelle. So
Yeah.
I think they should try and get her because she looks a lot like them. So yeah, someone wrote Smeagol's character. I think it was Steven that wrote this. Smeagol's character in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which
Andy Serkis.
yeah, Andy Serkis got named. I don't know if anyone cares. It's Supreme Leader Snoke. That doesn't really tell you anything about it. Yeah, I guess Clee's taking his
He's supreme.
headphones. Yeah.
Oh,
Avoid
no.
spoilers.
No, I had to.
I
I have to check the baby monitor from time to time if I hear one of the kids screaming. Maybe they screamed about that.
Yes. No. Ryan Reynolds came out and said the Deadpool movie got finished. It's finished production. It's wrapped.
Hey, so let's can we connect that one down to the news story?
Yeah.
'Cause what I don't get is how has it wrapped, but there's still this rumor that Wolverine is going to appear in Deadpool.
Well, they even when it's wrapped, they always go through and do scenes like reshoots and
they
stuff.
do
And
shoots, right.
I feel like if and the story Gasly's talking about is that Hugh Jackman's Wolverine could appear in Deadpool if this Jackman's scheduling and Ryan Reynolds' scheduling allows, and I would guess it would just be like a meeting in the bar like he did for Days of Future Past, where it's just, oh, there's Hugh Jackman, he's playing his character. Him and Deadpool are in the comics together, so why not in the movie together? It won't be like anything big, like they're not going to fight together or anything. I bet it would just be a real short shoot. I know there was tons and tons of people really excited about Tilda Swinton. Announced that I don't know if she announced it or just someone did, that Tilda Swinton's in talks for Doctor Strange as Sorcerer Supreme. Is that the ancient one? So she could be playing the ancient one. I know a lot of people were disappointed that Tilda Swinton didn't get cast as Doctor Strange. So yeah, Ash versus the Evil Dead teaser is out. I don't know if anyone saw that.
I haven't watched it yet. I didn't know it was out until I read our Google Meet.
Yeah, apparently it is. Steven wrote a bunch of stuff about Stephen Amell and Megan Fox sneaking around a police station in the new TMNT video set, which isn't the most interesting news for TMNT this week, because the most interesting news is that the WWE star Sheamus got cast as Rocksteady in TMNT 2, and I am excited. Rocksteady's the best.
I'm for that as long as WWE keeps their freaking mitts off of TMT, because Sheamus is in it.
Oh, yeah. Well, who knows? They'll probably bring up Sheamus with like 10 turtle heads in his arms playing the Terminator theme. We mentioned Chris Pine. Bumblebee might get a spin-off Transformers movie. Is anybody at all like interested in that? Like, would they watch that if someone allowed them to see it for free?
So let me also add to that. I think, I may not be positive. I think this is one of potentially 4 expanded universe Transformer projects that are being looked at right now. I guess they pooled like 5 different writers. I think Robert Kirkman was one of them. Where they're trying to expand the Transformers universe, and they're trying to get these 5 scriptwriters who have been associated with some pretty high profile properties.
We mentioned it last week. It's Robert Kirkman, and then the screenwriters for Iron Man 1 and Pacific Rim. So, I don't know.
Pacific Rim had a script?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I don't want to see a Bumblebee solo movie. Like, I'm fine. They kind of rumor that the Cybertron prequel could be one of the films they're considering, and I'd be more interested in seeing that than one about Bumblebee, especially if his voice box is still screwed up and he's talking like a radio the whole time. Like, I'm not interested at all. This bit of news I wrote in here just because of shock factor. William Fichtner signs on for a major role in, get this, Independence Day 2, 3, and 4. Like, I was like, wait, they're doing 4 Independence Day films? Like, seriously? I think Gaskelly's face just said it all.
There's just so many things on this list of stories in the rundown that we don't need.
Yeah.
We don't need a Bumblebee spinoff. We don't need 3 Independence Day movies 20-something years after the first one. And then what are they going to do? I mean, you have to release them in July. So are they going to annualize them for the next 3 years and basically make a movie version of Call of Duty for the next 3 years? Are they going to go every 2 years? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think T's internet's dropping, so our cameras are going to be screwed up a little bit here, but we'll finish the news real quick. Legends of Conan could kick off Robert E. Howard's universe, which is, I think, a series of books. I could be mistaken. It could be comics that he wrote. But I think someone was mentioning that Arnold is coming back as his role in Conan.
I actually mentioned that, Everett.
Okay. How do you feel about Arnold coming back? Because, I mean, I feel like Conan was when he was at his peak build. And I feel like now it'd be like flabby Conan.
No.
Like flabby boobs.
I think that's going to be okay, because what I've heard, it's not confirmed yet, but I think what I've heard is his role is he will be King Conan.
Okay.
So it will be okay for him to be older.
Okay. That That makes more sense.
Yeah. My dream that I talked up with my brother earlier this week was you get King Conan, and because he's kind of been Baranthianing himself around Samaria, he should have plenty of progeny and offspring. Um, so so I wouldn't mind seeing a movie with like a band of two, three, or four of his sons, as an adventuring clan, or two of his sons partnered with two other non-Conan offspring, and him as the king.
That sounds cool. I'd totally be down for like an old Thor Conan, where he's
Right.
yeah, okay, because yeah, Arnold's aging well, so I could see that. I just don't want to see him shirtless. Yeah, so Tommy mentioned Kung Fury is free online. You can go check that out. Harvey Dent is being added as a series regular in season 2 of Gotham. Does that make you want to see it, John?
No.
Okay.
Straight answer.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you
God.
are a fan of Gotham,
Let's do
like, I
that.
wonder how they're going to do Harvey Dent. If they're going to do kind of the White Knight, kind of district attorney Harvey Dent, or if they're going to just go full turning in Two-Face.
Well, I think that he showed up in the first season. I think on 2 episodes, and he played it was very campy. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So
Gotham.
everyone saw that and they were like, "Oh man, we want more of him."
Not me, but if people want it, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Trevor Noah, I'm not sure who he is, but he's going to premiere as the host of the Daily Show in September.
Oh yeah, I know about that.
It's cool. I'm not sure exactly what race he is. He doesn't look like he's a white guy, but it's cool that they got a kind of a non-white person to be the host of that show. Hopefully he's good. I haven't seen him. Have you guys heard of him? I didn't know if he came
Other
from
people have told me that he is very funny, but I personally cannot confirm that.
Okay. Yeah, I hope he's good because I like the Daily Show, and I think I feel like Jon Stewart would really be picky. It's his legacy. So yeah, get excited for that. Kate Upton may be in Fantastic Beasts, which is the Harry Potter spin-off, right?
For what reason? That's what I want to know.
Boobs. That's all she.
Don't need Harry Potter spinoff.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, we don't need that either. I mean, to give Kate Upton some credit,
I'm sorry.
she was kind of funny in The Other Woman with Cameron Diaz and Leslie Mann.
Alright.
She was good in that film, but her character was very just simple in more ways than one.
Vapid.
Yeah, exactly. And she was the pretty one, so I don't really know how she will I'm trying to imagine the Harry Potter universe with Kate Upton in the background, yeah, I don't know. Channing Tatum's Gambit's having a hard time finding a director. That's interesting,
Don't need Gambit movie.
I totally agree. I don't need Channing Tatum as Gambit, but whatever. I'd like to see just the younger no name like they're doing with Apocalypse as Gambit.
And I can't remember who it was in our chat. I agree with them. I can't remember exactly who it was. We were kicking this around. Having Gambit in the Fox X-Men universe, fine. Having him in a standalone movie is the slippery slope that I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
Marvel movies getting on, where now you need to take, second, third, fourth, fifth tier characters that, granted, may have had their following, but really were not and are not all that important in terms of the Marvel universe, and giving them their own outlet. It's just not necessary, and I think it'll start heading the ship in a bad direction.
Well, let's be fair. Gambit's only popular because of the 90s cartoon. And whenever he tried to have his own solo comic, it crashed and burned, and now no one really likes the character anymore in the comics.
Right, and there are ways to do that. There's a X-Men '92 digital comic that started now simply to give that very popular team an outlet.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and speaking of X-Men Apocalypse, Caliban is confirmed in there. Is Caliban a bad guy? Anyone X-Men fan?
I think well, I'm probably gonna get myself in a bad place. I think he's a Morlock,
More okay.
and I think they tried to do something that kind of seemed like Morlocks in X-Men 3,
Right.
that horrible travesty train wreck of a film.
Yeah, all the
Uh,
people with purple and black hair. Yeah.
right. So maybe this is their attempt to go back and do those guys right.
Yeah, I'd like to see. They did announce that they might be doing Morlocks. That'll be exciting. Robert Rodriguez is going to direct a live-action Johnny Quest movie. Does anyone think that's gonna work? Because I mean, that show was like super racist at a, at a
No.
point.
Yeah,
I'm
if there was a universe where that film could be done and not be super racist, then it could be fun because
Yeah,
that is a fun premise.
it's a fun
Um,
show. It's just
but
yeah,
also like staggering racism.
they just can't have they just can't have Haji with his turban on going sim sim salabim.
Films reconsider a lot of things.
But I think you can do that a little more tastefully in the 21st century if you kind of make the character who was Haji kind of more like a Kato, like a
Yeah,
21st century Kato,
yeah.
like he was in the Seth Rogen film. Um, and I'm 50-50. I mean, if they pull it off, I think that would be a great property
Yeah.
to rejuvenate. But if they make it a speed racer, then I think we'll have
Oh,
problems.
God, yeah.
Oh.
All right. Hulk Hogan could be cast as the villain in Expendables 4 if we're lucky.
Don't need Expendables movies anymore
We don't need any more
at all.
Expendables,
Right on.
and we don't
Man.
need Hulk Hogan being a villain or being in any other movie. He needs to just
That would be funny,
go.
though.
I think it'd be awesome to be like, oh yeah, bro. No, I was just kidding. That's Macho Man, Randy Savage.
you're gonna offend a lot of people.
T, you know that's my goal with every show. Is
Yeah, I
to
know.
offend.
But no, literally, the last time I can think that Hulk Hogan played a villain and it played it well was in freaking Three Ninjas.
Yeah, Three Ninjas.
Other than that, Hulk Hogan, I'm sorry, you're not an actor, you're not Arnold, don't try it, stop. Just grow old in your house in Florida and just yeah.
He needs to go like Jesse Ventura and just go down in Mexico living off the grid. That'd be cool. But yeah, no, we've been talking about Three Ninjas a bunch this week, T, and I feel like I need to find that movie and watch it now because it's incredible.
Find all three of them.
And last but not least, Mission Impossible 6 is already in development, which I am stoked about because I love those movies. They're
To borrow a line from Agassicles, in my opinion.
No.
Don't need any more Mission
We
Impossibles.
need 10 Mission Impossibles minimum.
So I would have been with Tommy if we'd have been talking about was it 2 that really got itself in a bad place?
2 was bad. 2 was the worst.
Yeah, but four certainly turned it around and got it back to like the original formula. And if they stay on that track, then they should be okay.
Yeah, that's another one of those like Mission Impossible 3 is the one that everyone like. 2 is the worst, and they say Mission Impossible 3 is bad too, but I freaking love that movie. I loved what's his name as the bad guy?
Seymour
Hoffman. Yeah, as the bad guy, and I really enjoyed
Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, and I think it Liv Tyler was she?
No, was it?
I always get those two mixed up.
Was it Thandie? Was that the Thandie Newton one?
I'm gonna have to IMDb it because the actress that plays Tom Cruise's fiance in that film is absolutely fantastic, and I don't know. I'm kind of biased because I'm a massive Tom Cruise fan.
Yeah, I think Thandie Newton was the second one. I'm not sure.
Michelle Monaghan.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I always get her mixed up with Liv Tyler. Michelle Monaghan's a much better actress. And Ving Rhames was barely in that movie, but yeah, we were talking about Ving Rhames getting a bigger role in 5 in Rogue Nation, so that'll be exciting. And Simon Pegg as well, which Wayne's best friend. So yeah, that's the show. So we're okay on time. We almost an hour and a half, so it'll turn out perfect. So let's do our final thoughts where we plug our Twitters And let's get out of here. So, CK, where can we find you on Twitter?
You can find me on Twitter screaming about Jupiter ascending at CKCucco, CKCucco. Literally
CK,
screaming.
yeah, CK is probably the best of us to follow. Probably better than the at Geeks on Screen, because
Probably true.
you tweet some pretty damn funny stuff. John, where can we find you?
Someplace. No, I'm kidding. I'm always fighting the apocalypse alongside Terminators.
You're battling forest fires, too.
Yeah, with my coffee cup, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, that gets burned every time. I don't know why.
You know, I was listening to that, and it was funny because in that quiz, you said that you would build your structure out of wood, and it still gave you forest fires as what you'd survive. I was like, John's house would burn down immediately.
Oh my
And
god.
he'd still survive that.
But at Wordy Nerdy on Twitter, and look forward to on Monday my Scott Snyder feature.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. We've got some big interviews lined up for this summer. Scott Snyder, we're going to get Dan Abnett, which a lot of us are big fans of, coming on this summer. So make sure you follow Geeks with Wives for that cool stuff. T, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at It's Simply T. I don't really have too much, planned for Geeks with Wives at the moment, but the computer is almost finished. Just relying on 2 more parts, and then we're good to go.
Yep. Yeah, you say that every week.
No. Thanks to Agasicles' help, I got the power supply. Now all that's left is waiting till pay to go buy the hard drive and the optical drive.
Gascles, do you want to plug while you're helping T find tech parts?
Yeah, sure. So stay tuned for sometime tomorrow, or sometime Sunday, either 1 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern Time, the debut episode of Geeks with Wives and Bits, which will be the new podcast in the Geeks with Wives network that covers all things tech. We'll be airing and going live for our debut episode. Also, keep an eye out, hopefully, for wrap up coverage of the Huawei Snap 2 review. As well as a review, or at least some impressions of the Acer Aspire Switch 11. And probably more importantly, keep a very sharp eye out for coverage of the NVIDIA Shield Pro Android TV, 500 gigabyte version. So that should be coming in. That should be coming in next week for review, and I'm very, very excited to take that for a test drive. And since I didn't get to go over my 2 movies in some of my movies in our things bad stuff that we dislike, I may have put them on the wrong part of the list. I just want to plug Timothy Dalton Bond movies and the Matrix trilogy. Feel free to go back and give those a second try with an open mind and clear eyes.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch Matrix again. Yeah, sorry, I didn't see your movies on the list, guys.
No, that's cool. I probably put them in the wrong place.
And yeah, and Steven, just in that note, Steven wanted us to mention Mystery Man, Kung Pao, Enter the Fist, and Master of Disguise, because those movies were all pretty terrible, but he liked them. I just remember Pee Wee Herman and Mystery Man that had like tons of warts on his face, and he threw spoons and forks. That was pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty much the show. You can find me at Everett Gets It on Twitter. I'll sometimes tweet original stuff. You can find all of us at Geeks on Screen. I did a few times this week. I try. I'm gonna tweet something about you right now, T.
At least you're tweeting.
But yeah, so follow all of us at Geeks on Screen. You can follow the whole Geeks with Wives network at Geeks with Wives. Make sure you check out
the Geeks on Screen Facebook that we have now.
Yeah, follow us on Facebook. We've got that. Follow Geeks with Wives on Facebook as well. Follow them on Tumblr. I think Tyler's still on our Tumblr presence. Check out our YouTube. We've got some videos on there. I'm trying to keep up with Divinity, but I haven't had any time. So that's going to keep coming. Adam's got some stuff coming down the pipeline. We got some streams that are happening on Twitch, so follow us there. If you miss those, they will be uploaded to our YouTube. So yeah, check that out. We've got a bunch of great comic reviews this week. John has started a weekly Penny Dreadful review, so if you're fans of that show, make sure you check out what John thinks, because he's a good writer. And that's our show. So thanks everyone for watching. We will see you next week, and thanks to my co-hosts Gaskely, CK, John, and Tommy. We'll see you next time.